Welcome back to our channel where we provide updates and undisclosed narratives on Catherine, Princess of Wales and her royal family. We provide you with the exciting news: King Charles hands over Forest Lodge, a new era for William and Catherine. According to an insider source, King Charles ceded Forest Lodge to Prince William and Princess Catherine in landmark succession move. A decision that is loaded with significance for the future of the British monarchy. King Charles III has formally designated the Old Forest Lodge on the Windsor estate as the new principal home for the Prince and Princess of Wales and their 3 children. This move is a significant step in the history of the British monarchy. A significant number of people are seeing the announcement, which was made in the form of an unusual personal video message from the king himself, as being far more than a straightforward financial transaction. A calculated and emphatic declaration concerning succession, a strategic repositioning of the next generation of the monarchy, and a clear support of a new, more contemporary form of royal life are all included in this statement. This historic decision, which will take place in the summer of 2025, would essentially establish Windsor as the permanent hub of the life of the Wales family, even when Prince William eventually ascends to the throne. The heir apparent has traditionally resided in London, and the Queen has traditionally occupied Buckingham Palace. This event marks a significant departure from the long-standing practice. The decision is inextricably connected to a moment of intense personal and institutional contemplation, which was impacted by the recent health issues that both King Charles and the Princess of Wales have been experiencing. As the king continues his own treatment for illness, palace insiders consider this transfer of a vital royal property as a practical step in building the framework for a smooth and stable handover of power. This is because the king is now recovering from his own cancer treatment. The film of the king, which was distributed via official royal channels, provided a unique and personal tour of the Georgian estate that was beautifully decorated. It was in this document that he discussed the wonderful atmosphere of the residence, as well as its importance as a bridge between the monarchy's illustrious history and its thriving future. When Charles makes it clear that Forest Lodge will serve as the residence for Prince William, Princess Catherine, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis, he is not only passing on the keys, rather, he is passing on the torch. This act serves as the climax of months of conjecture and gives a clear response to concerns about where the future of the crown will be built. It is not in the opulent halls of a London palace, but rather inside the limits of Windsor Great Park, which is a place that is isolated and focused on family. The Wales-Windsor journey, from a cottage sanctuary to a new chapter in their destination. One must go back in time to the summer of 2022 in order to have a complete understanding of the significance of this development. During that time period, the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, who were then known as the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, made headlines when they made the choice to move from the expansive apartment 1A at Kensington Palace to the more humble Adelaide Cottage. A need for seclusion and a sense of normality for their young family was the driving force behind the decision to relocate, which was arrived at after extensive consideration and deliberation. The cottage, which had 4 bedrooms and was located deep inside the home park of the Crown Estate, provided a haven away from the unrelenting scrutiny of London's media and the goldfish bowl of royal life. There was a dual nature to the underlying motive. The first benefit is that it made it possible for the family to spend more time with the late Queen Elizabeth II during her last months at Windsor Castle. This is a clear indication of the strong connection that exists between the generations. It was a choice that was made for the children, which is the second and perhaps more essential reason. As a result of their close proximity to their new school, Lambrook Prince George, Princess Charlotte and Prince Louis were able to have a more traditional childhood. Without the prying eyes of paparazzi, one might spend their days engaging in activities like going on school runs, riding bicycles around the 5,000 acres of Windsor Great Park, and engaging in other outdoor experiences. Catherine, who has long advocated for the significance of a secure and caring environment for the development of young children, was reportedly the driving force behind the transfer, according to those who were intimately familiar with the situation at the time. According to reports, she was adamant about protecting her children from the constraints and formality that have traditionally characterized royal childhoods. The devotion to a more hands-on, family-oriented way of life was exemplified by Adelaide Cottage, which had a lovely but restricted area and did not have any staff members who lived on their premises. According to the words of one of the sources, it was a conscious decision for that normalcy. Nevertheless, the peaceful refuge of Adelaide Cottage quickly became the setting for a time of trial that had never been seen anything like it before. At the beginning of the year 2024, the tragic news that the Princess of Wales had been diagnosed with cancer was revealed, a discovery that caused waves of worry to spread throughout the whole world. During the following months, the family went through a time of severe inner suffering as they had prophylactic chemotherapy and recovered from the treatment. In order to give constant support for his wife and to ensure that their children are able to preserve stability, Prince William drastically reduced the amount of public obligations he was responsible for. At the same time, the monarchy was dealing with yet another health emergency. After having risen to the throne for a period of less than 2 years, King Charles III made the announcement that he had been diagnosed with cancer. In spite of the fact that his therapy enabled him to continue performing his obligations, he had to reduce the number of public events he participated in. In March of 2025, the Queen was admitted to the hospital for a short period of time, owing to treatment-related adverse effects. This served as a sharp reminder of the monarch's frailty and exacerbated talks on the line of succession. For the Wales family, Adelaide Cottage, which had been a representation of a new beginning in the past, became infused with the reverberations of this challenging time period. The BBC was given the following information by a source inside the palace. Over the course of the past few years, while they have been residing at Adelaide Cottage, there have been some really difficult times. The decision to move signals a desire to close that chapter, embracing a space that offers expansion and renewal. The move to Forest Lodge is therefore not just a practical upgrade. It is an act of emotional and psychological resettlement, a conscious effort to create new happy memories in a home untainted by the anxieties of the recent past. At the same time, the search for a permanent home is being conducted. During the time when the family was working through these difficulties, rumors of yet another potential move started to spread among royal circles. With Prince George entering his teenage years, and Princess Charlotte and Prince Louis not far behind it, became more evident that the 4-bedroom Adelaide Cottage was becoming unsuitable for the demands of a family of 5, much less the household of a future king. This was becoming increasingly apparent as Prince George approached his teenage years. The rumor mill went into overdrive with activity. Tabloids and royal bloggers engaged in wild speculation on the next step that the family will take. Fort Belvedere, a spectacular castle-like folly located on the southern side of Windsor Great Park, was one of the ideas that received the most significant amount of attention. The house of King Edward V, where he signed his document of abdication in 1936, is the most renowned example of the land's rich royal history. The site is steeped in dramatic royal history. It was an appealing decision despite the fact that it may have been unduly dramatic because of its grandeur and historical weight. Some people speculated that the family may someday retake its enormous residence at Kensington Palace, which was another source of conjecture that pointed to the possibility of a return to London. Naturally, Windsor Castle itself was the alternative that was considered to be the most classic. Having the distinction of being the world's oldest and biggest inhabited castle, it has an unrivaled symbolic force. On the other hand, if William and Catherine had chosen to make their home behind its intimidating walls, it would have been a huge change from the private and family-oriented lifestyle that they had worked so hard to build. The veneer of this real estate chatter was really concealing a more major story that was developing under the surface. Discussions regarding a new residence were intricately related to the shifting power dynamics that were taking place inside the monarchy itself. The health of King Charles prompted hushed discussions about the potential of a regency or an expedited schedule for succession, and as a result, Prince William's position became more important. In January 2025, reports from publications such as the New York Post began to describe a discernible shift. One source asserted that William was seizing more power from his father and making difficult decisions regarding sensitive family matters. These decisions included the continued marginalization of Prince Harry and Prince Andrew from official roles. "He's never been more influential," an insider confessed, painting a portrayal of a Prince of Wales who was stepping up with a clear and definite vision for the institution. "He's never been more influential." The characterization of William as the toughest ruler the family has ever seen gave more gasoline to the conjecture that was already there. A relocation to a bigger and more substantial property was perceived by many palace monitors not just as a family affair but also as a forerunner to William, acquiring more authority, a tangible symbol of his rising stature. This was the perception of many palace watchers. It was during the process of secretly filing planning clearances for repairs at Forest Lodge that the story started to take definite shape. Despite the fact that the suggested changes were very minor modernizations to fireplaces and window replacements, they were indicative of purpose. The emphasis was changing away from historical follies and big castles and toward a family house that was functional, stylish, and private within the family. As time went on, it became abundantly evident that the choice was not about purchasing the most magnificent home, but rather about purchasing the property that would best place the next generation for leadership. Here's a closer look at the future royal hub Forest Lodge as seen from within. Forest Lodge is a Grade II listed Georgian house that is worth between $16 million and $22 million. It is the property that is at the core of this major transformation. The mansion, which was once known by a variety of names, including Holly Grove, exudes an elegance that is both dignified and modest, and it is completely in line with the public image of the Prince and Princess of Wales. The property is a huge improvement in terms of size compared to Adelaide Cottage, since it has 8 bedrooms and 6 bathrooms. For a family with 3 children who are still developing, this enlargement is very necessary. Prince George, who is now 12 years old, Princess Charlotte, who is 10 years old, and Prince Louis, who is 7 years old, are able to develop their own interests as they traverse their preteen and teenage years, thanks to the extra rooms that give adequate space for private bedrooms, study places, for schoolwork playrooms, and rooms for hobbies. A classic of Georgian architecture, the home is distinguished by its symmetrical front, huge sash windows, and delicate interior decorations. It is a masterpiece of Georgian design. According to Architectural Digest, the timeless aspect of the building may be attributed to distinctive elements such as the original marble fireplaces and the exquisite stucco pillars. It was in 2001 that the house had a substantial refurbishment that cost $1.5 million. The goal of this renovation was to ensure that the home's contemporary conveniences are smoothly interwoven with its historic charm. Forest Lodge, which is situated in a secluded area of Windsor Great Park and is roughly 4 miles away from Adelaide Cottage, provides the ideal combination of privacy and convenience for its guests. The expansive grounds of this property have a tennis court, which is ideal for the family that is known for their athletic prowess, as well as huge gardens that provide a natural hideaway. This specific connection to the natural world is really moving. In the wake of her declaration in September 2024 that she had been cancer-free, the Princess of Wales delivered a poignant speech about the therapeutic potential of the natural environment. In order to create a therapeutic background for a family that has endured a great deal of stress, the grounds of Forest Lodge will provide a quiet location that may be used for exploration, relaxation, and healing. As a matter of critical importance, the Wales family is going against the grain in terms of how they want to live in the house. The fact that they will not have live-in staff is a step that demonstrates their dedication to maintaining a contemporary and less traditional family configuration. Maria Turion Borrallo, their dependable and long-term nanny, along with other crucial members of the home staff, will travel from surrounding houses to be with them. It has been stated that this move would result in some difficulties in terms of logistics. Nonetheless, it will emphasize the family's private time when they are not on duty, so establishing a distinct border between their public duties and their personal lives. In addition, the Prince and Princess are providing the funds for the renovations on their own, and they will be paying the Crown Estate the market rate rent for the property. Important is the significance of this financial arrangement. They make sure that no money from taxpayers is utilized by using the revenue from the Duchy of Cornwall, which is a private estate that provides financial support to the heir to the throne and is projected to earn around $24 million, $30 million yearly. As a result, this indicates a great knowledge of the public mood surrounding royal spending and depicts them as responsible and self-sufficient, which is a sharp contrast to previous disputes that occurred over royal improvements. According to Cosmopolitan, this strategy is particularly relevant in this day and age when the monarchy is being held accountable for its financial decisions and openness. With the power shift firmly established, a monarchy is getting ready for the transition. The most convincing indication that a carefully organized transfer of responsibility has taken place is the personal launching of Forest Lodge by King Charles. He did not only provide a tour of the site during his video talk, rather it was a public anointing of his successors and the road that they had chosen. In order to ensure that the institution continues to develop without the interruption or catastrophe that has characterized previous transitions, the king is actively managing his own succession by framing the move in the perspective of legacy and the future. It is consistent with a string of occurrences and reports that hint at William's growing power, that this strategic transition is being coordinated. Conversations regarding the future have inevitably picked up speed as a result of the continuous talks about the king's health being discussed. Officials inside the palace have confirmed that high-level talks have taken place to consider potential options for William's future accession. This is despite the fact that speculation of an impending abdication may be exaggerated. In a story that was published in Newsweek in April 2025, it was underlined that there was a growing agreement that Charles needed to entrust more key tasks to his successor. This idea seems to have been taken into consideration. There is already a clear indication of William's increasingly forceful position. This illustrates that he is a leader who is willing to make choices that are unpopular but essential in order to maintain the integrity and reputation of the crown. His uncompromising attitude on the duties of Prince Harry and Prince Andrew successfully ensures that they stay outside the circle of working royals. The relocation to Forest Lodge affords him the opportunity to establish a stable and permanent base of operations from which he can effectively handle the growing responsibilities that come with his position as Prince of Wales, and be ready for his eventual role as king. It is possible that the most innovative feature of this whole event is the choice to continue to reside at Windsor even after the coronation. Over the course of many centuries, Buckingham Palace has served as the administrative and symbolic center of the monarchy. By deciding to make Forest Lodge their permanent residence, William and Catherine are redefining what it means to be the King of the United Kingdom. According to Rebecca English of the Daily Mail, who verified the information, this is for the long term, and it is their intention to stay in Forest Lodge once he becomes king. There are no plans to relocate Buckingham Palace in sight. This choice suggests that Buckingham Palace, which is undergoing extensive renovations until at least 2027, will transition into more of a working office or headquarters for the monarchy. Buckingham Palace will serve as a venue for state banquets, investitures, and official receptions, while the monarch's family life will continue to be rooted elsewhere. As a result, this represents a more expansive vision for a monarchy that is simplified and more approachable, one that distinguishes the institution from the people who are in executive positions. It places a higher priority on the well-being of families and the stability of the home than it does on strictly adhering to palace tradition. A reign in waiting. With its foundations in relationships with family and contemporary values for the House of Windsor, the opening of Forest Lodge as the new residence for the Prince and Princess of Wales is a momentous occasion that will forever change historical course. It is the climax of a trip that started with a search for seclusion at Adelaide Cottage and was forged in the furnace of personal and public problems. It is the culmination of a journey that began with a voyage. King Charles's emotional and strategic support of this step acts as a significant act of statecraft, signifying unity, stability, and a clear vision for the future. This move is a strategic move that signals the future. A shift in mentality is being implemented here, which is more than just a change in location. The decision that Prince William and Princess Catherine have made to reside in Windsor rather than London to choose privacy over grandeur and to prioritize responsibility over entitlement is developing a new model for a monarchy in the 21st century. Their actions are proving that it is possible to strike a balance between the enormous burden of responsibility and the essential need for a family life that is rooted in reality. Rather than being just a dwelling, Forest Lodge is the very embodiment of this new ideal in its physical form. An oasis for healing, a safe haven for the upbringing of the next generation of royals, and the basis upon which a future reign will be constructed are all characteristics that it has. While the Wales family is making preparations to move into their new residence, they do it with the unmistakable approval of the monarch who is now in power, and the undivided attention of the whole globe. The transfer to Forest Lodge marks the beginning of a new era in Windsor, one that will be characterized by resiliency, adaptation, and an everlasting emphasis on the family that serves as the core of the crown. It is in this very location, among the tranquil gardens and centuries-old oak trees of Windsor Great Park, that the future of the monarchy is beginning to take shape. Thank you for watching the video. Please let us know your thoughts and goodbye for now.